Hi parents, Miss Smith here, and today is a special recording just for parents because, as most of you have already done, I sent out the family surveys this week, and a lot of the questions that I got from parents is, how do I get my 5-year-old to sit still? And I thought about it, and I thought about how I could kind of maybe aid you at home. You're the parent, so you work with them on a daily basis, so maybe some of these things you already know. All I know is if any of you do have the golden key to get a 5-year-old to sit still, be sure to share it with all of us. But to the best of me, I have some tips and tricks for a wonderful age of kindergarten. I'm sure many of you, get the hint, have gotten to the point you thought about this. Let's save the duct tape for craft time and see what else we can come up with. So the first thing I did is I thought I'll Google it. How do I get my 5-year-old to sit still? Turns out that wasn't very helpful. So I just decided to share some of my tips and tricks that have worked well for me in the classroom in the past. So take them or leave them, and remember, every child is different. The first thing I thought of is to set a timer. A lot of times with students at our school, I've noticed that they struggle to work independently and they struggle to problem solve through things because they're used to having an adult one-on-one with them. Whereas that's a wonderful thing when they sit down to take their I-step test, when they sit down to work as adults in the real world, they're not going to have someone to hold them by the hand and walk them through. So let them struggle for a little bit. Not for long, don't let them get frustrated, but maybe give them an assignment and say, I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. You need to do your best without asking any questions and be a problem solver for that 5 minutes. After that time, I'll help you out. Or if your first step is, I need to get them to sit down in the chair to do the worksheet, tell them, we're going to sit here for 5 minutes. You're going to work the entire time. And then gradually move that up to set the goal a little bit higher. The other thing is just make those expectations at home clear. If you do this, you'll get this. If your child is sitting there throwing a fit or upset because they can see their favorite toy in the room next to them, tell them, if you complete this worksheet and do the best you can, I'll give you 3 minutes with your favorite toy, or to do something that's rewarding to them. A lot of times, we have students in the classroom that have to use the bathroom every time their favorite or their least favorite subject comes up. So I'll tell them, of course you can use the bathroom, but first I need you to finish your worksheet. Now we all know with kindergartners, there are sometimes they have got to go. But I guarantee that always comes with the restroom dance. So, take everything in individual situations, but that's a method that usually works pretty well. Another thought is purposeful movement. I had a teacher in college who told me that she had one student every day take a note to the teacher that's on the other side of the building. The reason for this is it gave the student physical activity. He was moving around and there was a purpose to it. So that's purposeful movement. Maybe have your child clean up his room before you start the next lesson. Maybe have your child do jumping jacks while they count out their ABCs. Get them that physical movement so they're not sitting in a chair the entire time. You can also take a break and dance to a YouTube video. I believe the Just Dance for the Wii has the videos online for you to do them. There's also a channel called Harry Kindergarten and a channel called Have Fun Teaching that have great videos your child can get up and dance around to. Sometimes I just have my students stand up and shake out the sillies and bury them in a hole or whatever's creative enough for your child. Another phrase I've found that works really well for kindergartners is I ask them to calm their body. I have no idea why they relate to that phrase so well, but they seem to know what it means, and it'll get me through a couple minutes at the least. So, those are just some ideas. Make your learning hands-on. Add arts and crafts. Maybe instead of having your student write about the main character, let them draw the main character or make the main character out of clay or tissue paper or whatever you've got around the house. Or they can use their blocks to make the setting. So do something to make their learning hands-on. Dramatic play is a big thing in kindergarten. After you've read a story, say, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to play, but you've got to pretend that you're in this story, or you are this character, or you're the place we learned about in science or history. And then you'll notice that when they're doing it as play and they're doing it on their own, they tend to recall more and comprehend a lot more than sometimes you even think they're capable of. And last, is just get creative. You know your child. You know if they're a hands-on learner. You know if they're big into sports and need to get up and play a game. You know if they're artistic. Go on your child's strengths. Let them have a specialty area, and you'll find that they'll be a lot more engaged. I know that it's really hard to get kindergartners to sit through lessons. If you'll notice, when I record these sessions on my YouTube channel, they're usually about 5 minutes long, because that is about as long as a kindergartner can sit just through a lecture. After that, there can be hands-on activities, but really in the classroom, most of my lessons, I guess they're not in quotations, they are lessons, but most of the new information part, the presentation part, will be limited to about 15 minutes. And then afterwards, they need to get up and do something. They need to be able to work on their own, or they need to even get up and move to a different area of the classroom so we can have a fresh start. So if you're thinking, my child won't sit through an hour lesson online at the computer, that's pretty typical for a kindergartner. Let them get up and take a break. Maybe let them try a worksheet or an activity from another lesson in between those, or once they really start to move around in the chair, they're losing them, let them try the assessment. If they're not ready to, then go back and visit the lesson and the new skills they need to complete it. So I hope this helps. Every child's an individual. You know them best. You're their parent. You're their first teacher. And don't forget me in this process. If there's anything I can do to help you at home, even if it's just brainstorm ways that work with your child at home or at the learning center or whatever those issues are, please don't forget to contact me and we can work together and come up with a plan. So that is all that I have for today's emergency session. And if you have any questions, let me know.